I'll talk about Tegmark LIFE 3.0 and kind of I bundled parts 4, 5, and 6 together because they're basically very speculative. And he basically talks about, can AI take over the world or enable humans to do so? What we already looked at was his view of the near future on that tree, right? And he kind of walked us through all the different issues revolving around right now. So what we're going to do now is kind of draw a line here and kind of look at the crystal ball, if you will, is where he's going with this. And this is where he really focuses on future scenarios. But one thing to keep in mind when you do that is that when a scenario has a bunch of possibilities, which Tegmark indicates, you get stuck. And his best way of doing that is he takes a story that he's written, and so he kind of walks us through this story or this scenario of a story. And that in itself, puts kind of restrictions on all the different possibilities. And when you do that, and when that whole concept, when you're constantly excluding certain options, and as you move through the story in order for the story to make sense. So that's kind of what happens. I suggest you read it and get it, but it's just different scenarios. But this is, I think, the most important part, where he goes through all the aftermath scenarios. And one, he talks about libertarian utopian, right, where human cyborgs uploads and coexist peacefully thanks to property rights. Then he talks about the benevolent dictator possibility, where everybody knows that the AI runs society and enforces strict rules, but most people view that as a good thing because it's benevolent. Egalitarian utopians, where human cyborgs and uploads coexist peacefully thanks to property abolition and guaranteed income. The gatekeeper is where superintelligence is created with the goal of interfering as little as necessary to prevent the creation of another superintelligence. And the human cyborgs coexist, but technology progress is forever stymied. The protector god is essentially omniscient and omnipotent AI maximizes human happiness by intervening only in ways that preserve our feeling of control of our own destiny and hides well enough that many humans even doubt the AI's existence. The enslaved god is where some people take the superintelligence, control it, and it's either used good or bad depending upon the human that are in control. Conquerors, whereas the AI itself takes control, decides that humans are a threat and a nuisance, a waste of resources, and gets rid of us by a method that we don't even understand. Descendants is one where the AIs replace humans, but they give us a graceful exit, making us view them as a worthy descendants, much as parents feel happy and proud about their children that's smarter than them, even if they can't live to see it all. The zookeeper is where the AI keeps some humans around, but they feel treated like zoo animals and lament their fate. 1984 is where the technology progresses towards superintelligence. It's permanently curtailed, but not by an AI, but by a human-led Orwellian surveillance state, where certain kinds of AI research are banned. Reversion is where it goes back to technology in the style of the Amish. And self-destruction is where it's never even created, because humanity drives itself to extinction by means of, say, nuclear and or biotech mayhem, fueled by the climate crisis. But all of these things, all these scenarios are all basically influenced by our decision, by someone's deciding, the we deciding what we want. And who is the we here? Is it the scientist? Is it the elites? Is it the politicians? Is it the generals? Is it the capitalists? And is it the citizens? And I think based upon which one of those you pick, it affects what you're going to see as the possible future. However, if the superintelligence appears anytime soon, and the question is how could that happen? And he kind of addresses the fact that you can have computers making computers and fixing themselves, and so they accelerate the whole process, and that gets you to an explosion. Then he talks about AI being beneficial, but that's we address in part 7, and about the goals he really addresses more in part 8. So the idea then here is that what kind of influence over the decision of what we want the outcome to be. And this is where he breaks it down in terms of containing and controlling AI. He talks about this possibility of that humans are in charge, right? And therefore we kind of hold the controls as to what possibilities that this thing is going to take. The other option is the cyborgs are in charge, which is a part human, part machine. That one is where the basically more of a Superman in charge, right? And then the AI in charge itself. This is one where we really just don't have very much of an idea of what that's going to be like. The scenarios are different. Now, the challenge that he sees is that without the whole future, that without us forming some kind of partnership, with the technology that we're looking at right now, that basically our future is a future of extinction. And so it seems like we have to determine how we are actually going to manage and design the partnership that we want to have with the technologies. And that's kind of where he goes with parts 4, 5, and 6. That's the main focus. Thank you.